Hello, friends, and welcome to Heart Matters. We have another great episode lined up for you today. We're so happy to be continuing our series of stories from Labrador. Now, because of its isolation, Labrador is known for being a little bit tricky to travel to, but isn't it so good to know that the God we serve is not limited by the things that limit man? And let me tell you, God is doing real things in the hearts and lives of people all over the big land. Our story today comes from a young lady from Postville. Listen in as Heather Sheppard shares how her life was completely changed when she surrendered it to Christ. As well, we're so pleased to welcome our friend Shawn Wiseman from right here in Gander as today's musical guest. Sean has done some recent recordings of original songs that he has written. And to kick things off today, it's our pleasure to share his new music video for the song It Is the Cross. Enjoy.
What frees my soul from deep despair and lifts the weight of every care? What bears the pain of deepest loss? I know it well, it is the cross. When anguish fills a troubled mind and caring friends are hard to find, there is one place that saves the lost. I know it well, it is the cross. Come taste the freedom and the peace, the great reprieve and sweet release, where every soul their burdens toss. I know it well, it is the cross. When broken hearts get no relief and joy is stolen by a thief, where is the love that counts no cost? I know it well, it is the cross. Come taste the freedom and the peace, the great reprieve and sweet release, where every soul their burdens toss. I know it well, it is the cross. When life is done at journey's end, at last there's no more time to spend. My breath will give its last exhaust. I know I'll meet him at the cross. Come taste the freedom and the peace, the great reprieve and sweet release, where every soul their burdens toss. I know it well, it is the cross. Come taste the freedom and the peace, the great
Heart Matters will return in just a moment.
Closed captioning provided by Terry's Tints, in business for 30 years providing canvas fabrication, printing, embroidery, craft supplies, and more, located in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Scott's Transport Limited is a family-owned and operated full transportation company located in beautiful Deer Lake. In business for over 25 years and with a fleet of modern equipment and dedicated team, we service the growing needs of businesses from Newfoundland and Labrador to Ontario and locations in between. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Looking for quality products and top-notch service? From lumber to paint and refrigerators to sofa, your local Notre Dame Home Furnishings and Notre Dame Castle Building Centers can help you complete your home, serving you from 16 locations across Newfoundland and Labrador, 6 days a week.
My name is Heather Sheppard. I'm from Postville. My mother is from Newfoundland and my father was from here in Postville. He grew up here. I went away for school for a little while. I went to St. John's and done schooling there. And then I moved back here. I had a job opportunity here in the Not-So government. So I've been working here and my husband is originally from here as well. We started our own family. We have 3 little children, 2 boys and a little girl. I grew up in Sunday school. I went to youth camp and stuff like that for church. So I grew up knowing God and knowing who Jesus is. And so I had that right from a small age, right to growing up. You have a path where you live for Him and live in His ways. But I kind of chose a path where I kind of just wanted to be like everybody else, you know, like go and have a few drinks here and there. And I didn't put God first in my life. Like He was just, you know, He was there, but He wasn't the one I was putting first in my life. I've had in the past anxiety and panic attacks. I went through that my whole life. I mostly suffered silently, but I went through it to the point like I was sent to a hospital where my body went like seizure-like state from hyperventilation. Here, living in isolated communities, I think the biggest part for me was always I'm too far away from the hospital. And then like the hospital here, and then you got to fly if you got any emergencies. You got this minimum equipment here, and you got to fly, you know, an hour away to get to be seen. So living in an isolated community, that was probably the biggest thing for me with my anxiety that I used to constantly think about all the time. Like that used to be steady on my mind. And honestly, the animals, like for me, like bears, I was like terrified of black bears and stuff, that I used to have nightmares over and over and over again of them. Picking berries, you're more than chances are that you're going to end up seeing a black bear. So we ended up seeing a black bear. Me and my mom was picking berries, and then she looked up and she said she thought it was the dog. We had a couple of dogs, my dogs with us, and she thought it was a dog, and it was actually a bear, and he was staring at us, and like he was just watching us in a close distance. So I shot the gun, and he didn't even move after that neither. So it took a second shot that before he ran off. And I thought about a lot of times like my family going off hunting, and like my brother, my father, and accidents happening there. So I was constantly thinking about that all the time, every time they went off somewhere. And if you got anxiety, you're going to think about those things extra more. January 3rd of 2020, I found out that my dad passed away. He worked in Voisey's Bay, and they went into the room because he never showed up to work, and they found out that he was already passed. The doctors do believe it was from a heart attack, and he was in camp at the time. So they had to fly his body back, and that was extremely hard. And that was a moment that I've always prayed my whole life, like, God, if any one of my family have ever passed away, I would not make it. Because, not just because I'm weak in general, but like because I know I have anxiety and panic attacks, and I knew I wouldn't be able to handle it. My heart wouldn't be able to handle it, and it didn't. And so it was in that moment when I've heard he passed away, I wasn't no longer really me anymore. Like, I could hear people talking around, but it was almost like you're in a trance. Like, you hear people and stuff going on, but you're kind of in shock. And so I kind of went through that stage, and I knew like there wasn't no coming out of it. Sunday came along, and from Friday to Sunday, I was constantly just having anxiety and panic attacks repeatedly. I'd go to sleep, I would just want to sleep all the time. And I would sleep, and then I would wake up in panic and in fear. There's just fear runs right to your body. And medication that I was on for the anxiety at the time was not working for me anymore. And I felt like, what else do I have? Like, if this is not working. And so I kind of went to a moment of feeling like there was no way out. I tried many different things, like in different kinds of medications that they give you. None of them worked for me. And so it was in this moment that I felt like I really didn't have any way out. And then I felt like a tug. It was almost just like, it was just like if God was saying, grab hold of my hand. And it was in that very moment that I rushed to my husband. I told him, call the pastor and his wife. Pastor came up, and they sat down, and then that's the moment that I accepted Jesus into my life. And in the moment of my grief, I was in such despair that I did feel a difference, that I felt stronger. And I went to my mom's house, and I couldn't help with the pictures and picking out for the funeral, anything like that prior. I just couldn't do a thing. And that's why I went down, and then that's what I done. I went and picked out pictures, and although I was still deeply grieving, I had this strength in me that was helping me, that I was able to do what I needed to do. And after a couple days of my sister seeing the difference in me, she's seen the difference in me, and she known that it had to be God. And she ended up calling on the Lord. She asked him into her heart personally. God was definitely working in amongst all this. He knew we was hurting, and he knew that he could fix the problem. Like, he could take us and give us the comfort and strength that we needed to get through, because we couldn't do it on our own. I know I couldn't do it absolutely 100%. I don't even know where I would be today, without him at that moment. And then it was the summer. I got married June 20th of 2020. And it was only a couple days prior to my wedding day. My brother, when he come back from camp, he gave us all the news of what happened, and that he accepted Jesus into his life. He chose to follow Jesus. So me, myself, my sister, my brother, and my mother, all chose Jesus. We all asked him to come into our life. And as I spent more time in his word, I was feeling a lot more different. And I felt like there was comfort, and I felt strength, and I felt peace, and I even felt joy in the mix of all of it, and I could not explain it. And then in due time, I can remember looking back and being like, I've never had no panic attacks or no anxiety. Since I asked Jesus in my life, I didn't have any. And so more and more time went by again, and I was like, none, gone. And this was back in 2020, January 5th, 2020. I accepted Jesus into my life. And I had not suffered once from anxiety or panic attacks ever since. And I went through it a lot in my whole entire life, and I've never went a day without it. I've been literally made new, and we've been calling it a miracle. Like, God healed me from anxiety and panic attacks, and I do believe it. It's gone. All I do know is it's gone, and I'm a completely different person. In my younger days, I didn't feel this way. Like, I didn't feel, I guess more then it was just, almost seemed more like a tradition. But now it's real, and it's intimate, and it's personal. It's a relationship. And I didn't know that. I didn't know you can have a relationship with Jesus like that. Blew my mind. And so that's what made a world of a difference for me, is that I have a personal relationship with Jesus, and every day it's a communication. The prayer is a two-way communication. Like, I hear from him, he hears from me. Like, it's two-way. Before, it was always just like one way. Like, I'm just praying, I'm not getting nothing back. I guess the easiest way that I could explain it, because there is a verse that says, my sheep hear my voice. And I held on to that. For me, it's a still small voice. So it's there deep within me. And like, I know it, that it's him. I've come to learn that over time. It took some practice and understand, like at the beginning it was like, well, that's a coincidence, But like, and then you're like, okay, no, I'm starting to catch on that this is God's voice. I know a lot of people are dealing with anxiety or depression, panic attacks. And I know what they're going through, so I feel more passionate towards them. It's more personal. I surrendered my entire life to him. I didn't go in and just say, Lord, I accept you into my life. I'm looking for a miracle. I'm just turning to you just for a miracle. No, I surrendered my whole entire life to him, and I known who I was calling upon. I known who he is and who he was. In all these 3 years, that in those moments I felt fearful or felt afraid or whatever it was, I put my faith to the test. I said, Lord, I trust you. I'll put my faith in you. I said, Lord, I need your help. Sometimes that's all we can do. We don't know what we're looking for. We just know we need help. So that's all I did. I said, Lord, help me. Please help me. I would just picture myself resting in the boat with him. All the storm is raging around me, but my eyes is fixated on him. My thoughts are fixated on him. Moments that I would start to look at, how big the situation seemed, God would remind me how big I am. Remember how big I am. So he would take my eyes off of the situation and stuff that's happening, and he'll put it back on him. He grew my faith to the point that fear was no longer greater than my faith. So it's the fact that faith can overcome fear. I am made new, I am changed, I am renewed, I am transformed. So my life is completely different than what it was before.
Every story, song, and message that we share here is done through people. God loves people, and so do we. That's why we want to hear from you. Have a suggestion for an upcoming show? Let us know about it. Has something you've heard on the program impacted you? We'd love to hear that too. Simply drop by our website and send us a message. And if you haven't already, follow us on social media to keep up to date on upcoming episodes and events. Still to come in today's show, The Bottom Line with Mike Freake, and more music from Shawn Wiseman when Heart Matters returns.
Looking for a quiet, clean, and economical place to stay in central Newfoundland? Emmanuel Convention Center offers hotel and motel rooms, cabins, bunk rooms, and RV lots. We are a family-friendly site featuring nature trails, a playground, and sporting areas. Give us a call today.
From envelopes to tractor-trailer loads, Dooley's Trucking caters to all your shipping needs. Capable of meeting all your shipping requirements throughout Newfoundland. Dooley's Trucking is your choice for fast and efficient delivery. Ship with the best. Ship Dooley's.
My name is Brandon Lee Mullet. I'm the owner here at Gander Appliance and Furniture, and I'd like to welcome you to our new showroom right here in Gander.
We carry a wide variety of furniture brands, including Canadian-made Decorest, Canadell Dining, and a large variety of Ashley furniture. We also carry major appliance brands such as Bosch, Maytag, and Whirlpool. Come visit us at 60 Armstrong Boulevard in Gander or 1 Fairview Street in Lewisport.
Our volunteers spent months prepping for VBS. Well, what is that? Well, that stands for Vacation Bible School. And all that hard work paid off as this room was filled with children and leaders and moms and dads all celebrating who Jesus is. And all throughout the building, there were amazing decorations like space capsules, a Mars rover, astronauts, and meteors. Now, like all of you, I've never known what it's like to break free from Earth's gravity or float around in space, or what it feels like to experience G-forces that can make you pass out. Now, I'm not sure if that sounds appealing to you or not, but there's a lot of people who pay a lot of money to experience just that. But for me, I am quite content to experience all that space has to offer from the safety of our planet. Now, when I was a young boy, a teenager, I actually experienced something from space that I've never forgotten. So let me set this up for you. A friend of mine and I were camping in the woods so that we could do some fishing and exploring. One evening, as we were fishing from our canoe, we started to make our way back to the cabin. And on the way back, it got dark really fast. And the only light that we were able to see were the twinkling of the stars. Then all of a sudden, I heard a sound from behind me. It sounded like a strong wind was blowing, like an intense fire was burning. And before I knew it, everything around me, all of the pond, lit up. I quickly looked up, and just for a few seconds, I saw a large meteor flying across the sky. And it was a huge fireball with a long fiery tail behind it. And it didn't last very long, but the entire pond lit up like it was in the middle of the day. And for a few seconds, I could see everything. The water, the trees, the hills, everything. And then as quickly as it came, it was complete darkness again. This year's VBS theme was Shining Jesus Light. How appropriate. Well, why do you ask? Because we live in a dark world. Yes, I know there are glimmers of light and hope all around us, but generally speaking, this world is a pretty dark place. All we need to do is look around. And we see humanity at its worst all the time. We see selfishness, we see greed, we see war, hunger, murder, sickness, and death on a daily basis. You know that the Bible uses darkness as an analogy of the condition of the world, the condition of the human heart. But at the same time, the Bible speaks of light and hope even in the darkness, even when things appear to be lost. And just like that meteor that lit up the sky and everything around me, you and I can be a light to those around us. A smile, a helping hand, going out of your way to help someone else, speaking words of life and hope. You and I can be that light. Now, do you feel like you need to be at the receiving end of that advice today? Like you're the one walking in darkness? Do you feel like darkness has overwhelmed you and you can't seem to see where you're going? You wish you could see. You long for clarity in your life. But the bottom line is this today. Jesus is the one that can light up everything around you so that you can see clearly all of the beauty that God has in store for you.
Are you tired and lonely and don't know where to turn? Have you been forsaken with all your bridges burned? You'll find just what you're needing and a friend who truly cares when you pray from your heart that sinner's prayer. Oh Lord, I believe that you can set me free. Take me from this place and save me by your grace. Oh, do what you must do to make my life brand that sinner's prayer. Oh Lord, I believe that you can set me free. Take me from this place and save me by your grace. Oh, do what you must do to make my life brand new. Oh Lord, I believe, I believe. Oh Lord, I believe that you can set me free. Take me from this place and save me by your grace. Oh, do what you must do to make my life brand new. Oh Lord, I believe, I believe. Oh Lord, I believe, I believe.
Confessing your faith in Jesus is a pivotal step in walking with Christ. Shawn just sang, Lord, I believe that you can set me free. Do you believe that today? I believe that with all of my heart, and I've seen firsthand how Jesus can set the captives free into a new life of freedom. We want to thank Shawn for singing for us, and we also want to give a big thank you to Heather Sheppard for sharing her story. We put this show together each week not just to entertain for a half hour, but to let you know that there is a different way to live. Following Jesus will certainly cost you something, and it may get messy. But a new life in Jesus is one that is filled with hope and purpose, and we pray that for each of you to find that for yourself. Well, that's all the time we have for now, but we invite you back again next week here on Heart Matters.